Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Gurjot, and
Yo, what up? TWP.
it's your boy Gurjot and Paul. This is our podcast called The Talks with Paul and Gurjot, which we'll be posting every Sunday. We'll be talking about all sorts of stuff on this podcast relating to trading related, lifestyle related, gym related, mental
Meant
health related.
books, maybe some guests, like
Yep,
life stories. Uh,
all sorts of things.
and most importantly, some Call of Duty when the
Yeah,
CDL starts back up. So
yeah,
for the one person that might watch this, that might know what we're talking about, we're gonna talk about
yeah,
that too. So yeah, it's not just trading; it'll be everything,
yeah.
everything. Yeah, and it'll kind of
It,
connect, but
Yeah, trading will always be an aspect of the podcast every
hmm
Sunday. So it's not just like we're gonna be talking about the gym one day and then trading one day and then some sort of individual or influencer coming on one day. It would be trading will always be an aspect of the podcast, but it's a podcast more than just about trading.
yeah, yeah.
Podcast of life in general, right? And then we're gonna be talking about our stories that we went through, tips and tricks, and just trying to help anybody out there, whoever needs in whatever form.
Yep, pretty much. So that's kind of the purpose. And like Gurjat said, every Sunday we'll upload it to this channel uh, around the morning ish. So between probably 9 or 10 a.m. Central till no later than like 2 p.m. Central. So that's when
Yeah,
it'll get uploaded. And yeah, we'll just kind of keep rolling with that.
yeah. And the goal for this year would be consistently uploading it every Sunday.
Yep.
There'll be a podcast of roughly between 20 to 40 minutes. Won't be too long every Sunday. That's gonna be our goal for this year for in relation to this podcast.
Yep. Me too. I agree. And each week we're thinking we're going to start it with kind of a short, quick couple minute breakdown of for example, this week, GJ, we're going to kind of just look at GJ real quick. Gurjat's going to
Yep.
show you some stuff he does,
I'm
and then we're going to
yeah.
break down GJ real quick, and then we'll jump into our topic.
Yeah, so here I'll start sharing my screen and then I'll talk about mainly going to be talking about two trades that I took this week. It's going to be
Oh, hold on.
one of
The switch needs switching. All
yeah
right, there we go. You're set.
one of the trades I'm going to be talking about is going to be a loss, and one of the trades is going to be a win. And the one thing I want you guys to focus on when I am going through these two trades is how simple my trading plan is and how simple my mindset is in trading. It's not very complicated, and that's the main thing I want you to focus on. So I'll start off by breaking down I believe this is my Thursday night Asian trade where I took a loss. So basically, I start my trading session roughly around 30 minutes before Asian Open or red eye Asian Open, and I'll look at if there's a range. So for this day, I drew a range between at the very top of this wick from an Asian session, and then through a support from a range at the very bottom of this wick over here to the left. And all I did was I did nothing past that. I looked at the charts every 15 minutes. I wasn't just glued to the chart the whole time when I was watching my session. I would just look at every 15 minutes to see how a candle closes. All I did was wait for it to close out of the range, which was this bearish candle here, and I would put my stops above. Oh, I put my stops above, which is roughly around 15 pips, give or take. And then I had my target set to the very low right over here, as I thought it was somewhat of a strong support as we came down here multiple times to the left. So basically, this was my losing trade. The reason why it was lost, the way I manage my trades is I'll wait for a candle to close out. So bearish close, it closed bearish out, and then the only way I'm gonna manage if the next 15 minute closes back on the range, which is a fake out, or if the next 30 minute closes back on the range, which it did not. It respected this support of the range, and then continue back down, but it couldn't go further. This managed support here to the left. As a result, I held my trade. I didn't do anything, and then eventually came back into the range and kind of hit my stop loss. But one thing you can see is a range after I took my loss. All it did was get out of range and then continue in the range to the right, and it was just messy movement from Thursday night all the way to a London session and New York session.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my loss. The main thing I want to show is like I set my resistance, set my support, which represented my range. A range to me is just like movement, like horrible movement sideways, basically. And sometimes it can be a whole bunch of hours, like 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Sometimes it can just be 1 hour arranged in a 15-minute time frame. And pretty much, I right when it closed out, I didn't look at anything else. Took my entry, set my target where I thought it could reach. Didn't reach the target. I couldn't manage in the aspect of where it did a fake out and it's going to go back to the top of the range, and took a loss that day. I took one trade that day and it was a loss, and that's one thing I really want to focus on. I'm not continuously trading. Like after this, if my old self would have took multiple trades and I would have lost over and over again, because clearly you can see price just wasn't moving well for my style of trading. So that was a loss that I want to show everybody. It's like I still lose till this day. It's not like you're always on consistent winners. It's part of the game. And one of the winners I want to show you where my style of trading works was this Asian session. All I did was set another range. To me, many people won't look at this as a range, and it was because it's not completely sideways, but it's like arrangement. It was just shitty movement, right? To the right. It didn't really go anywhere. It didn't tell you anything. You can't really read anything off the chart. Some people might be able to, but I'm not able to read anything off the chart. So this was my winner. All I did was wait for it price to close out. It closed out in this bearish candle. And one thing I want you guys to pay attention to is, even though this price closed out, a lot of people would will start questioning themselves, because so this price closed out, but it left a massive wick. It looks like it was rejecting price to our left here around this. If you can see the dotted cross here, it could have been an old support. A lot of people would look at that as like, no, I'm not going to take the trade anymore. He had a massive rejection. It's going to come back up and stuff like that. But my mindset was simply, it closed out. All I did was take the sell, put my stop above my the candle, which is 8.5 pips, and then took my target. I believe it was right at the top of this bottom of this old resistance, new support here to the left, and secured. Even though the movement kind of died off here, and it seemed like it could reverse, I stuck with my game plan and my target, because I believe 90% of the time I'm able to see, my target is able to hit, and that's what happened. I eventually continued hitting down and then hit my target. The main goal of this is to show you like what I haven't went on any other time frames. I'm not saying it's wrong, but like I don't show a simplistic approach to trading. This is a range to me. Planted my resistance, planted my support, wherever I believe the range ends and starts. Waiting for it to close out. Price closed out, so it's a breakout trade. Put my stop above the candle that I broke out of, and then set a target wherever I believe it's going to go, and it's secured profits here. So it's very simple. I'm not trying to overcomplicate anything. I'm not looking at any sort of trend. Like, I'm not looking at anything. So it's just like a 15-minute time frame, closes out, you take your trade, and that's pretty much it. And that's just a breakdown how I trade Asian session going into London session.
Beautiful. Stupid simple.
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm not going to show any trades this week. I only got 3 or 4. But just nothing to show, really. So we're just going to kind of break down GJ. And at least for me, GJ's been nothing but buys since 21st of December. And then buys down here are also valid. But to just kind of go through the week, so these lines here that you're seeing, I think that's vertical, right? That's vertical. That always messes me up. The vertical lines, yep, up and down. That just separates my week. So when I'm checking out the 4 hour, the 1 hour, or 30-minute for my entries, that's just kind of showing me my weekly candle. And if you look this week, buys, buys, buys. Super simple. And then the EMA, all that's doing is just giving me my higher time frame reminder when I'm on the 30-minute, so I don't forget or anything like that with the 4 hour or the daily. Just kind of the overall direction. So the EMA does nothing but just, if for whatever reason, let's say I'm looking for a sell for, I'm like, oh, we're making lower highs or rejecting. I see this and I'm like, why is that saying buy? And then I'm like, oh, what's the 4 hour? Oh, okay, don't sell, wait for buys. So that's all that is just my reminder. But for the week, I mean, there wasn't a ton of movement in my eyes. We started here, we ended here. So I mean, weekly candle didn't do much. We only moved. We kind of went up ranged a little bit, came down, went up, broke the high, came down, broke the low right here, and then we just ranged for NFP. So not a ton of movement, but in my eyes, we're still looking bullish. Not going to do any zones or anything like that because everyone does it different, and we're just kind of doing a little mini breakdown. So for me, depending on where we start on Sunday, and then coming to Monday in New York, if this target is still here, depending on how we're moving here, I'm just going to be looking to target that high. Ideally, GJ continues up. We make another high. So target there is kind of what I'm looking at. If we can capitalize on this area right there, if we can capitalize here, that would be great. If not, I would just like to see another high get created. Pull back on the 4 hour or 1 hour, whatever. Scale some entries in and target that next high that we create, if we create one. And that's all I'd be looking to do. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out, like to everybody listening, is see the difference that me and Paul have on these charts is like he goes down and breaks down the hour, the 4 hour, and the 30 minute, and kind of sees which way it's trending. Well, for me, it's if it's in a range, whatever side it breaks out on the range. So it's like there's no correct way to trade, but these are just ways that work for us over these years that we found out, right? That's one thing. I feel like a lot of people always say, "What's the way to trade? What's the way to trade?" There's a million ways to trade, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you could trade almost any way. It's just some ways are going to be quicker to profit than others. Where if you pick like the most ridiculous way to trade, I think if you do it long enough and you learn properly, we'll say, you can make it profitable. Yeah. It just is going to be there's some easier ways to do it and some not easier ways, but easier could be like self too. Like for me, it's just mentally easier to trade where I visually see the trend and the strength. And like right here, I see buys. So I know if I'm in buys, I'm going to feel good. If I'm in sells, I'm like, well, shit. Like, is this one spot strong enough to correct weeks of moving up? Probably not, in my eyes. I feel comfy trading the trend, and I'm able to wait for it to set up. So that's just what works.
Yeah, so that's what I would say. It's just like, if you're thinking on to try like either Paul's way or my way, like just like don't try to copy and paste like people's methods of trading, right? You gotta take things, apply them, see if they work for you. Sometimes they work, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. See if they're consistent, not if they work. I think that's the big difference. Like each method of trading, whatever it is, it could be Fibonacci, it could be EMAs, it could be news, it can be fundamental, like whatever way of trading. I think they can all work, but it's more of the fact that if it's consistent, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, exactly. You just got to figure out what works for you, pretty much. Like I used to take those trades, but now, like how you would take I guess I'll flip back on the screen again. But like, so this, you can't see my screen either, can you?
No.
Okay, here, I'll share this real quick. So like for me, this hypothetically could have been a breakout for you, maybe. Well, let's just say, right?
Okay.
We broke support.
Yeah.
For me, when I see this, that's not like, oh, what kind of sells can we catch? Especially with this example here. In my mind, I saw this, I was like, all right, we're right here. If our 4 hour can close bullish, which it did, any bullish close inside this box, we're still going up in my eyes. Even this bearish close, if we broke this low and we completely started pushing down to like here, then I'm kind of maybe going to be switching. But like this one candle closing, we're still buying. And for like the point I was trying to make was when candles close like that, like they break a support like against a trend, my mind says more than likely a fake out, and usually it is. So like I don't know if you've noticed that too, but if you do happen to glance at the overall trend and you get a breakout in the wrong direction, most of the time that's a fake out and just a huge grab for the higher time frame to push up.
And I completely agree. And I'll even say that because I focus on the 15-minute time frame, it just works for me. Is I've seen on the 15-minute also, it's like if because I wait for a breakout, right? If it's in a range, pretend it's trending up. Clearly, you can see it's trending up, right? It's like this last couple of days, like on the chart right now, it's trending up. If on a 15-minute time frame, I've noticed where sometimes it'll break down, I'm not saying the trend's going to change, but I'm saying it'll break down out of the range, and it looks like it's going to start heading down for however many pips. I'm not saying the trend's going to change, but I'm saying that like 90% of the time, it usually ends up being a fake out and continuing in much more volume to the upside than the downside.
Yep. All right. You good on
And,
GJ? You got anything else you want to maybe go over before I switch over the screens
no, not for now. I think
and change gears?
yeah, I think that was a pretty good breakdown, just like quick analysis of what GG can do with this upcoming week and what tips, some of the tips that they can take and apply to their own trading.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. We'll see where we open on Sunday, but I think unless GJ starts to actually move down, just wait for 4 hours to close bullish and break highs and have a target and just keep buying it till it's changing directions. And the change in direction is probably going to come after a really strong range, like probably 3-4 days, maybe an entire week of just nasty ranging on the daily. Then we'll probably see a direction change. But until then, I mean, GJ just keep buying it. Buy it every time it goes up and makes a target. Let it fall back down because it will eventually. Then when we get a bullish close on, for me, a 4 hour or a 1 hour, buy it back to the top. And that's it. Just keep doing that over and over.
And I'll say, before we end this GG breakdown and everything, I'll say a quick little tip for this week. I'll say is be patient. I'll say be patient with this week. It started we just got into the first quarter, right? It hasn't been that many days into this first quarter. So be patient. There could be a lot of good trades for you guys, but I think many people sabotage themselves more by over trading, over risking, because sometimes like Thursday was an awful day to trade. In my opinion, Thursday was an awful day to trade. Like from Thursday Asian session to London session and
into Friday too.
Friday, yeah, that's like Thursday into Friday was a horrible day to trade.
Yep.
And a lot of people usually sabotage themselves on those days and take multiple trades and try to win back the losses. So don't do that, guys. I'll say the tip for this week would be just staying patient.
Yeah. If I have a quick tip, it's make sure you read the news thoroughly. So I came onto the chart on Friday, and you know how we had NFP, right?
Yeah.
So there was 5 red folders. 3 of them were red folder CAD, 2 red folder USD for NFP, or the non-farm employment. They changed it. And I only read the first 3, and I saw CAD, and I have in my notes red folder CAD for I think it was the unemployment claims. Doesn't affect GJ or EA, is what I have noted from last month or whenever it came out last. So I was like, okay, I'm good. And then I saw an Instagram story while I was waiting for a trade. It said NFP coming up, and I was like, what? What do you mean? So then I pulled up news again, and I was like, oh, I'm in a trade, and I missed NFP. Because I was like, why is my trade not moving up? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then I saw it was NFP, and I was like, that's why it's not going up. It's waiting for NFP. So I jumped out at -2 pips, but I ruined a nice 11 or 12 win streak just because I missed the news. And I looked. It's not like I didn't look at news. I looked at it, but I didn't read all 5 folders. So I was like, come on. But
I know that happens sometimes.
I was like, man.
It's like it was a Friday, right? You're probably just trying to go quickly see what's happening that day, and
it was a beautiful trade. It was an A++ trade, 5 stars, and it just price ranges before news like that, and then it continues. So I jumped out at -2 pips, 10 or 9 minutes before NFP, and then NFP came in, broke the lows, and I was waiting for buys. Once it broke the highs, I jumped back in buys, snagged my pips, and got out. And it was like I ruined the win. I mean, technically, yeah, maybe we could say that we could chalk it up to I wouldn't have traded if I saw the NFP, but I mean, technically the win streak was ended because I messed up. But
I know this, but I think a really good thing that a lot of people can take from the story that you said was that it went against your plan, and then you close your trade order. The moment you realize it went against your plan, you close your trade order, right?
Mm-hmm. And because I would never get into it, never willingly get into a trade, no matter how beautiful it is, knowing NFP's coming up. Absolutely not.
And I think that's a really good thing that you told everybody that, is because it's like, as we always say, if it's against your plan, don't do it. Or if you by mistake do it, don't take it. And that's like a really good example of why, because that would end up being it would have much bigger loss, right? It
hit so it was like an hourly support with a beautiful target, clean candles, right? Broke the high of the bullish hourly, and I got in. It was it was at 5, so it was 2 hours, hour and a half before whatever NFP, and then it just didn't go nowhere. It just sat at support the whole time, and my
Yeah.
stop was like 3 pips under the hourly candle. Was the support, and NFP came, broke that low by like 5 or 6 pips, and then continued up. There's just so much volume, it did a little grab, and then it launched up. So it would have, instead of a 2 pip loss, it'd have been a full stop, and then my buys would have pretty much, I mean, maybe I'd hold it a little bit longer to get in the blue, but more than likely I'm probably just getting to break even on that second trade and getting out. But yeah, if I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been like, dang it, I would normally not be in this and just jumped out, that would have been a loss and then a win, and then it would have been a break even day.
Yeah. So
So
that's
yeah.
so take learn from our mistakes, right? So that's what this is all about. So you like learning from that, right? Is like he clearly showed you if it's not with your plan, get out. No matter what it is. If it's 3 pips, 4 pips, 5 pips, whatever, however much you're risking that trade, just get out. Just play the
Hmm.
safe bet and play the long game, right? Because trading's not going anywhere. You're gonna always have next week or the next day or the next day.
Hopefully.
So it's not going anywhere, right?
I mean, can they really trust us though, bro? Like we said in the beginning of this video, we're gonna do a super quick GJ breakdown, and it's now 21 minutes, and they're like, okay, are we gonna talk about the topic, guys, or what's going on?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, working and trading full time. What are your thoughts on that, Gers? I hear
My
so
thoughts.
much back and forth.
Yeah, I know. I'll say this. I'll say this. Everybody wants a trader lifestyle. Everybody they see these IG influencer, right? They want this lifestyle. They want to be working from home with their laptop or going on vacation, working from wherever they want with their laptop, right? And have the supermodel girlfriend, have the supercar, and like money everywhere. Everybody wants the lifestyle, but it is not like the trader lifestyle. It is not that. That's just influencers showing off what they have to get more people to pay for their lifestyle because they can't most of the time,
Hmm.
90% of the time, I'll say they can't trade themselves.
Yeah,
So the trader lifestyle is not that. I don't know. In my eyes, like what Paul was saying, working a job and trading, a lot of people go into trading to obviously not work their full-time job, and which really good goal. I completely believe in the aspect, but
hmm.
I believe a lot of people jump early on that aspect, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Like they'll
I think I jumped early on it.
yeah, and I think I was on the same boat with you. I jumped the lifestyle a bit too early myself. Right, where we both were making consistent profits, but then
It's
we so
different. Like
it's yeah
like when you started it, right? At least for me, when you started it, you're like, okay, it's like within the first time, or not the first week of trading, but like the first week that I'm making good money trading, I'm ready to be full time. And like for me, that's what I was like, okay, as soon as I've had like maybe a few weeks in a row of consistent profit that pays the bills, boom, full time. But like you need to have like some savings built up to accommodate because you're going to have a bad week or a bad
yeah
day
or
and
a bad month. A
or a
bad
bad
month does
month.
happen.
Yeah, and if you don't have that like financial security to protect yourself, because those times are going to come, and if you're a professional trader, you're good at it, and you know what you're doing, a, a losing week, a losing month doesn't ruin your year, and it damn well better not ruin your account, you know?
Yeah,
Like, okay, you go down 5%, you had a losing month, but your winning month previous was 20 or 30%. That losing month doesn't mean shit.
yeah.
But it's just like those extra factors, like the burdens of life and the burdens of the market sometimes, and it's
And
just
not even the burden, just the boredom, right? It's like
way
I'll
too
go
much
into
free
this.
time, way too
Yeah, so it's like
much.
I think a big mistake that happens when people quit their job, right? For me, like I'll say this. I'll also say this. First of all, me right now, I'm not saying I'm trade full time, but I can trade full time if I want to. But I still work 40 hours a week. I still go to my job every single day, work 40 hours a week, sometimes even 40 plus hours a week. And I know Paul does the same, right?
Yep, yep.
And and I think the reason, I think the big factor is when we went full time traders, like you get bored. Like if you don't got something to keep you busy,
Hmm.
you're gonna start messing around with trading, do different trades, try to make a bit more, just because you're bored, just because you have nothing better to do in life.
Hmm. Or do you think
Because it's like,
more time on the chart is going to equal more money when, at least for me, the past few months, I've spent the least amount of time on the charts and I've done the best I've ever
yeah,
done week after week after week, like
and I
incredibly consistently.
And I can't agree with you more, right? It's like I don't know, I don't know what it is. Sometimes people think that like I agree with this. Like sometimes people think, hey, if I spend more time on the charts, I can get more trades and more opportunities. Yes, there might be more opportunities, but it's like a probability, right? The
Mm,
more opportunities you have, the more chances you're gonna fail.
yeah, I mean, maybe for some people that does work, you know?
Yeah, yeah. For some people it does work, but like
I would say
for
majority.
me,
Yeah.
yeah, for me myself, I don't. I'll say this. I don't think I'm gonna leave the job I have right now, even if I make tons of money next year. Like tons of money, I mean like a great profit percentage,
Mm,
just because that job keeps me like sane in a way. So it's like I trade agent sessions, so it's like I go to work and trade sometimes. I'll take my laptop and I look at the charts every 15 minutes near agent session, agent open. So that's like an hour. That's four times I'm looking at the chart. The first Asian Open, so from 8 to like 9. That's four times I gotta look at the chart. That's it at work, and the
yep.
rest of the time I'm doing my actual work, or if I have something to do.
It like keeps you busy.
Yeah, 100%. So it's
Like
like
like if you take your trade, right? Let's say you're not working and you're still trading at the same time, right? The only thing different, you're
yeah,
not working. You take a loss, right? And you have no other income, and then you don't have to go to work or anything to distract your mind. Even like playing COD, like that's not going to distract you. That's just going to piss you off even more.
yeah,
So now you're more mad, and then you come back the next day, and you're like, okay, well, let's see what we can do, I guess. Same strategy, loss again. And then you play COD again because you don't have anything else to do. Now you're more mad. And it's just kind of
yeah.
like the
Puts you,
psychology of it's so
yeah.
tough. I mean, I think
It
it's,
messes with your mental health a lot. Like that's what I'm saying. Your psychology it really does. It puts you in a
yeah,
toxic cycle in a way. That's what it seems like.
yeah. I think it'd be different if, the only way it would be different, I think, is if, and I don't think there's a ton of traders out there, but if one trade can pay all of your expenses for a few months in one winning trade, not like a crazy like 10 or 20 to 1 R, just like a normal 1 to 1, 2 to 1 win. One trade can pay all your expenses for, we'll say 2 months, 3 months. Then I think it would be a little different.
Yeah,
But I mean,
but
I'm not to that point, so
yeah,
I don't know, but I would think, I mean, maybe one day we get somebody on here that does
yeah.
that. That one
And
trade covers everything for months on it for
yeah,
months. Maybe I'm sure that's got to be different because like if you can just show up, win one trade, and then just you could be done for the next 8 weeks if you wanted. I think
yeah,
that would there'd be no pressure to take a trade. You know?
yeah. I would say, yeah, like that's the biggest. Yeah, I completely agree with you because then you're only taking the one trade and then you're set for 8 weeks or whatever, or it's 16 weeks or 12 weeks, however many weeks you're like fine for right, paying everything. But it's not, keeping a job and trading is for me is not even about like, it's not necessary. Bills are the only factor. It's more the fact that, bro, is it what else is there to do? Like you said, you play COD, but you can only play COD so much. You go work out, but you can only work out so much.
Mm-hmm.
You you watch YouTube videos, if you only watch YouTube videos so much, right? When
Mm-hmm.
you don't have like a job like that keeps you busy is and sometimes you need to keep your mind busy or you're gonna go back on the chart and revenge trade,
Mm-hmm.
which I did when I went kind of full time trading for a couple months, which and it was the worst thing for me. So it's more the factor just to stay busy. So
Yeah,
it's
'cause I mean,
like
you got like 10 hours a day to just
do
like after you
nothing.
play COD for 2 hours, after you work out for
Yeah,
2 hours, like okay, you still got 8 to 10 hours. Like
yeah.
what? Okay, you like reading. Okay, there's an hour. Maybe you read for
You,
two, but
you
like
can only do so much of everything though.
yeah,
While the job is like you go to work, you know that you're there for it could be 8 hours, it could be 6 hours, it could be a part-time job. It doesn't have to be a full-time job.
hmm
That's one thing I think a lot of people don't understand is like you could still have a part-time job on the side just to go there because you enjoy working there, right? You can enjoy
hmm
the people that you're there. So that's a big factor also.
yeah. I really like that idea. I mean, maybe maybe
It
one day in the future when we're to that point, we
yeah.
like when we're making enough for one trade covers everything for the month, then you scale back to part time and you do more stuff. Like if you have kids, you have more time with your kids or your
Yeah.
cats or you travel or you know something like you fill up your time with something, but you still have something else to do.
Yeah.
A couple
One
days a
thing
week at least.
Yeah, one thing I also mentioned is like we're also in a like you said travel and everything. I think one thing that came to mind is like we're also like I know in Canada, we're still the whole world in general, but we're still in a pandemic, right? You're not really going out anywhere anymore. You're not traveling that much as people used to back in the day, right? It's like so you have more time on your hands. Yeah, I know you said travel, and a lot of people say, hey, if you're making so much money, why do you travel the world? Like, where am I gonna go during a pandemic? Like,
Yeah.
bro, it can't for me it's brutal here. Like they shut down everything again
It'd be more of a
because of
hassle.
COVID.
You just got to deal with
That's
all the
way
BS.
more, way more of a hassle. So it's
Hmm.
like that's another factor, right? It's like people that's because people say, hey, why do you travel? You're making so much money. Where am I gonna go? I'm gonna be locked out of my country. Like I don't want that, right? I want to be able to come back to my country.
Hmm.
So it's like I know we're still in the pandemic, so that's another factor. Is like you have more time on your hands than ever before. So do something with that time.
Hmm. And then, so you were saying, like, oh, you make all this money trading, right? So
Yeah,
what about, so the person who does trade full time that doesn't have a career, not a career, because trading is
is
definitely
a career
a
like
career,
another
another
we'll
income,
say
like we'll just
regular
say a
job, a
job.
regular job.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
just say a job. Doesn't have a job outside of their trading. The person that's trading full time, they have to pay for their own health insurance, maybe life insurance,
yep,
their own 401k, Social Security, taxes. You still have to pay all that. Just because you trade full time doesn't mean that stuff doesn't apply to you. Like,
yeah.
that's more expensive.
That's yeah,
It's
and
actually
not even
cheaper to have a job because
yeah.
all of that, like, we'll say adult stuff, but like we're still both in our 20s. I mean, we're not gonna. We'll probably trade longer than somebody works at a job if it's a good job and they got like good benefits and that kind of stuff. But we'll probably trade much past that. And if not, we have to have enough put away to just retire. You know?
Yeah, no, and that's one thing that I'd even take in. You're 100% right. It's like, what if when you want to start a family in the future, right? It's like,
Hmm.
you want to have kids, right? You gotta think about that aspect, right? If why would you pay out of like so every entrepreneur, business person, every like sort of like role model that we look up to, right? What do they always say? It's not about how much you make, it's about how to limit your expenses and everything like that,
Yep.
right?
Lower your
So
monthly
if you look
expenses.
Yeah, so if you look at that, if health insurance, health benefits, dentist, optometrist, if you look at all that as expenses, right?
Hmm.
Why wouldn't you just go work a couple hours a week at a job, get those benefits, and have don't pay for it? Why am I taking money out of my personal stuff, right? When they're offering it,
Hmm. I think I
it's
think I'm pretty sure they take, if it's through them, it comes out of your paycheck. But it's a lot cheaper.
yes,
It's a lot cheaper getting it through somebody than getting it on your own. Like, I have it on
yeah,
my own, and I have a very not great plan, and it's not cheap.
that's not saying so. So you also have to look at it and like I completely agree with you. I didn't even think about that, but it makes so much sense. Why wouldn't you just go work somewhere, get those benefits? I understand it comes out of your paycheck, but it's better that it comes out of that than your trading profits, which you might want to use for other businesses that you want to create, right? Or
Hmm.
other or
Real
daily
estate
expenses
or whatever,
or
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like you got to use your brain, right? And I think a big thing a lot of people like also like to think is sources of income. Like people always want to become a trader and that's their main sources of income.
That
But
is
isn't the
stressful.
goal for us to have more than one source of income,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Mine is. I know yours is.
Yeah. So it's like why can't a regular job be a source of income? Why is that looked at as the negative way? Right?
Hmm.
I don't think I think obviously there's levels like if you open up a business while trading, that's another source of income, but that's a different level, right?
Hmm.
Like there's levels to this game of life, and
Hmm.
right now I think a lot of people don't look as getting a regular job and trading as a level. They look at it as a negative thing when there's I think 10 times more benefit, like more pro to it than the cons. Like I don't the only con I see is sometimes you can miss a trade, but that's not bad. It's bad to sometimes just relax,
Yeah.
not take a trade a day, right?
Yeah.
I
So
think you know it, we know it.
let's pro con it real quick. So cons, what are
Yeah.
you thinking? You said you miss a trade sometimes?
Yeah, that's the only con I see. If you miss a trade sometimes. But
Yeah. I
to
see
me, I
that one,
don't
and depending on your job, you might have a weird sleep schedule or get not a lot of sleep.
yeah, or that could be a con that I
So,
agree with that.
but I mean, you can, like, for me, I just go to bed a little bit early, an hour earlier than I normally would,
Yeah.
so I can make up that hour because I'm getting up at 3:30 in the morning.
Also, yeah, but like trading, I'm not like I'm the same thing. I'm up until 3 a.m. and no matter what with trading. So it's
Hmm.
like even in
Yeah.
trading, with trading, your sleep schedule is even more messed up.
Yeah. 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 So
So
then, what about pros? What would you say? I'm thinking like just like the mindset and the, at least for me, was my decision making. Like the quality of trades I take
yeah,
is like out of this world better. Like if I even like if it's not ranging, but I feel like it's ranging because I just don't like it, I'm just like, okay, all right, well, I'll go hang out till I go to work.
Yeah.
Versus being like, okay, this isn't great, but I got to pay a bill next week and I need to get a trade that is a winner today. So then
Yeah.
you kind of like force it a little. Even if it's not forced, but it's still kind of forced. It's just like, if it's ranging on the 4 hour, but it looks good on the 30 or the 15, no, that's a no-go. It's got to be nice on the 4 hour, hour, and 30 for me to take a trade.
Yeah.
Where in the
I
past it
think.
was like, well, the daily's ranging, but the 15's good. So, I mean,
Yeah, well, you're forced to trade because you have to, right? Because you're like,
hmm
okay, like, hey, I gotta pay a couple bills coming up in this next couple of weeks. So you're like, even if it's not a good day, I'm still gonna try to get a trade in.
yeah. And like,
Which in the
granted,
long run
yeah,
ruins you.
yeah. And granted, that scenario is not a successful way of trading, but
Yeah,
I feel like for most people that want to jump to full-time trading, and we were both there, um, it's just different.
yeah.
I don't know how else to put it, but just like the decision making is just so
I
much
think it.
better.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because it gives you opportunities as well. Before you, when you're only a full-time trainer, your opportunities are limited unless you have other businesses lined up that you're
hmm
trying to start. If you're just trading full-time, and that's the main thing, it limits your opportunities. So I think it's the opportunity thing where it's like if you have more options, you're gonna take the better option. But if you have no options, you're gonna just have to take the option that's given to you,
And then it
right?
also, yeah, and it also kind of limits your chart time
Oh, 100%.
consistently. Like if
Yeah,
you
and so you're
work,
not over trading.
yeah, like if you work at 7 or 9 in the morning,
Yeah.
you trade pre-New York, you trade the currency market open at
Yep.
normal 7, or you maybe get to trade a little bit of like the NYC open and catch that bit of volume. Otherwise, after that, like you're up for kind of London pre-New York, maybe New York, and then you're gone, and that's it.
Yep.
And it's not like you
One.
sit there all day and look at it.
Yeah.
So it like
That's
forces you to be disciplined because you're not physically able to take a trade.
yeah, and that's the point I was gonna go into because like one thing I lack in my life, which I'm trying to work on this year, is discipline. I'm not a very disciplined guy. Sometimes I'll because I can convince myself, hey, it's okay. I'll take the shitty trade, or it's okay, okay. I'm gonna eat this bad food. I'll work it off. So discipline is one thing I lack. So having a job where it's like, hey, like I have no option. I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work, right? So it's like it makes me more disciplined because like, hey, after this trade, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna go to work, come back home, and then I'm gonna be able to relax. So it's like if you lack discipline, I think it's a really good thing to get a job because it will build discipline into your system, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just something for me because I severely do lack discipline. I'm trying to work on that myself.
Yeah, it helps you to build good habits. So when the day comes when you can get to that, I'm doing air quotes, full-time trading where, like with the example we said, one trade pays for all the bills for the month or 2 months or three
Yeah,
months, because that's when I think the most successful trading for most people. Some people are just superior to us, I guess, and
not superior. It's just their brains are different, right?
yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
like
they're
everybody
just
trades differently.
better wired for
Trading.
doing that. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
anyone can do
me.
it, but some people are just better. That's it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, if you're making money, I mean, how do you really judge better? But you know what I'm saying? It's easier for them to do without like worrying about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
One
where
thing I also want to say is this. I think this is more like I know for me it's like this is more of the mental health side of like trading and everything like that. I when I go to work, it's a second home to me,
hmm
and I know not everybody's has a luxury of that. But I would say fine. Like if you hate your job, I understand if you want to leave it and then you want to look like I try to make trading your full time.
hmm
But I want to say try to look for something you enjoy and love to do, right? And work and do that as work. So like for me, my workplace is a second home to me. When I go there, that's my me time, right? Because when I'm home, I have to deal with so many stress and factors that in my life at the moment. So
hmm
when I go to work, it's my free time. I go there, talk to my buddies at work. I enjoy my time there while I'm working with my hands, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. It's like my escape from reality and my problems. So it's like I think that's the big thing. So it's like if I understand not everybody enjoys where they work, and that's more of a luxury for me.
Yeah.
If you don't find another job, there's millions of jobs out there, right? I understand like in this day and age, it could be hard to find a job, but you all you gotta do is talk. ask, right? You ask questions, try to build connections with other people, and do a job that you generally want to do and enjoy doing and have a good time working. Don't work for the money. Work to have a good time there and work to
Like a reset.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Like if you have a bad morning trading, not that you get emotional, but it just wasn't a good morning. The market didn't move. You go to work,
Yeah.
you reset. You forget about it. You reset, you come back the next day, you're good to go. I
Yeah,
think
and that's what
I was just going to say, I think the
I
other way too, like you were saying, if you don't like your job, go find a different one. If you make a lot of money at that job and you don't like it and you want to trade full time or something, maybe save up for a year or two so you have an entire year's worth of bills paid in a savings account to where you could stop working and quit that job and have a full year to maybe try full time trading. And maybe you find something part time or trading goes good and you have this big savings to prepare for what trading does sometimes. Uh, or didn't you just find like a hobby, a
yeah.
time consuming hobby? Like, I don't know, but
Yeah,
something, you
no,
know?
no.
So like there's different ways to do it. You don't have to work, but something to just
Yeah, do
like,
you don't have to do exactly what we're doing,
no.
but this is just like what we're from our experiences and from what we I think we're trying to show people that it's like there's always a negative outlook on having a job in trading. I think the goal when people go in trading is like, now I want to quit my job. I hate my job. I want to quit my job, and I'm trying to change that outlook on that.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
I
why
think it needs to
would
be
you?
talked about more,
Yeah, and I don't see anybody else talking about it. Why would you quit another source of income, right?
especially if it's a
So I
good
think that
income.
that's what I'm saying. Or not even that, or just for the benefits, like you said.
That
That's like
too, yeah.
who if you're creating a family down the road, bro. Like we just went through a pandemic. Who says we're not going to go through another pandemic a couple years
Or
down the
just
road,
some
right?
more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that we're trying to change or to show people like a
At least
trader
shed some light
lifestyle.
on.
Yeah,
Because I feel like
I
people,
completely agree with you.
yeah, like, I mean, I feel like people look at trading as if it's not your only income, you're not successful at it. And that's not true at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Like,
and that's what I was trying to like. I believe me and you were trying to show on this. That's not the fact. That's not the
that's not the
fact at
truth.
all. It's really not. It's why what like right now in my stage of my life, I'm not ready to commit to another source of income in the high level where I want to create another business. I'm looking for real estate. I'm not ready for that stage. I know I'm not ready for that stage. I still have a lot of stuff to figure out in my life. So why would I put my another source of income in detrimental just for like, oh, hey, I'm not a full time trader or that? It's like that's not it. I still consider myself a full time trader even though I'm doing a full time job also.
Same. Yeah,
And
it's
that's I
like,
think a mindset a lot of people need to change.
yeah, like trading full time. For some people, it's good. If you have the funds and the financial stability to do that, do it. I mean, eventually we're
Yeah,
probably both going to get to that point, but
that's what I'm saying.
at least
Different
right now,
stages.
like, still trade full time and you still work full time. So that's like if you have a good job that makes 50K a year and
Yeah,
you can make 30 to 50K trading, uh, you went from making 30 to 50K to 80, or you went from making 50 at the job to 80, or even
yeah,
100. Like, that's a big change.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like you gotta there's stages to life, and a lot of people jump this early stage when they
Hmm.
start making profits and consider. And please, the advice is please don't do that. It's better to
Take
stay
it
in the
slow.
stage you are, and when you're like extremely ready to take that next step, that's when you take it.
Yeah, I think not only financially but mentally. At
Oh,
least for
100%.
me, like in
I
the
think the
like
mental side's
financially, yeah,
more.
I was ready. I had it, and we were kicking ass on the charts. But then
Yeah,
mentally, I just destroyed myself. We'll say.
I think it's more of the mental side than the profit side or financial side. I think it's 10 times more on the mental side when you're mentally ready to
Hmm.
uh, take the next step. You're mentally strong enough to take the next step because not many are, and not many can do it. But that doesn't mean everybody out there can't. Just this is like you have to take the correct steps to make sure you're like on the mental side you're ready to take that step.
Yeah, because it's a lot more than just winning a trade and paying your bills.
Way more. It goes so much more factors
Like
going
there's
into
gonna
it.
come time when you lose three in a row, and if you're not mentally in the right spot or confident or been doing it long enough to be confident in what you're doing, like you could just eat yourself alive and ruin all of it pretty
Everything.
much.
Yeah, your years of hard work.
Yeah. So it's a lot more than just being financially ready. I mean, you could be financially ready, but emotionally, like you're
That
not even close.
yeah,
If you're 1 year into trading and you came into trading financially in a really good spot, you got a nice savings, everything, um, and you trade good after your first 15 months and you think you're ready, and then once you don't have that job bringing that money in, you completely shift mentally from how you were trading to trying to trade full time. It's just it's different. It's definitely a
yeah,
learning curve, and I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people out there that like us, they had a job when they started. They did
yeah.
really good. They jumped off the boat way too soon, and then they had to kind of not start over, but like try again,
Yeah, and like I said, this is just our experiences, and the reason why we're doing this podcast and everything is like that is because this is what we've like some of the stories we've been through, some of the things we've seen others go through and mess them up really bad.
Mm.
This is our advice, and I think this is just like one thing I really want to do is like how you said, shed some light on trader lifestyle. Like it doesn't have to be your trading living. I believe what I'm doing right now is a trader lifestyle,
Mm.
and it's a complete. It's I think it's 180-degree like a turn on what a trader lifestyle is, and I think it's a lot of people need to realize that. I think what we're doing is way more healthy and way better, a better outlook on everything than
Mm.
what a lot of these fake influencers are doing out there and showing it. So that's I think this is like the real side of trading, and this is what we're doing this podcast for, right?
Yeah, I think some people talk about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
100%. I'm not
few.
saying only we do, but like 100%. Like
Yeah, I
some
think
people
there's a
do talk about
few
it.
a few mentors, teachers out there that do give you the real thing. But a lot of them is just you see a lifestyle, and like you said, that's what you think. But it's just not talked about enough. It's talked about, but not enough.
Yeah, and
What's
that's what
talked about way more, 1,000 to 1, is trading being your only thing, and you don't have to physically go to a job. That is a
yeah,
1,000 to 1 being smoked.
yeah.
But
And that's
um,
what we're trying to shed some light on with this podcast and everything like that.
yeah, and the last thing I want to say
Yep.
is like, yeah, we're talking about things where we're not currently at yet. Like, I mean, I'm, I'll speak for both of us, and I don't think either of us make a single trade and it covers bills for months, right?
No, 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 no,
So,
not at all. No,
so yeah,
no.
like we're kind of talking a little bit in terms of that aspect of the future,
Yeah,
but I think this is gonna be super cool because we're gonna get the journey, and in a couple years when we look back and we are at that level, we're gonna be like, hey, check this out. Remember when we were talking about this? So it'll be kind of
yeah,
like, not only are we kind of sharing our experience, but we're also it'll be like a record of the journey, like as our mindsets change and evolve, and
change.
as
Yeah,
we evolve, and like okay, and like remember we said this thing back here in 2022, and now it's 2025,
yeah,
and we're saying okay, well we were maybe we were off the ball, maybe we were dead on, like like it'll just
yeah.
be like a
It'll
cool
be
way
cool
to
to
look
see.
back
Yeah, it'll be cool to see, like are you
and
saying,
track the journey.
where we are a couple years from now, and hopefully we're able to hit all the goals that we have and create some new goals on the way there.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I also want to say is that this is just more talking to the audience. If there's like things want us to talk about, certain topics you want us to talk about, it could be trading related, it could be fitness related, because I know Paul's really into fitness, and I got myself
Mm-hmm.
is getting into fitness heavily this year. If it's COD related, video games, anything you guys want us to talk about, put it down in the comments. We'll try to create Instagram post on Paul's page or my page. I'm pretty sure most of you guys follow us. If
Yep.
not, it'll be in the description below. Anything you guys want to talk about, let us know. We'll try to talk about it in the upcoming podcast. If there's anybody you guys want us to call on, let us know. I know she's gonna come on for sure. Sharma's gonna come on for sure.
Yep.
Uh,
We'll get
uh,
Stephanos.
yeah, Steph knows we can even bring Jamie on for a little bit, right? So
Yep.
we can. So if there's anybody you guys want us to reach out to and talk or have a conversation with, we're more than open for that in the upcoming podcast.
Yeah,
What
I'd be
about you,
down. That
Paul?
would be get some guests and different trading styles, and then like we said in the beginning, it's not like Gurjot said, it's not just trading. Like
Yeah,
I'm sure
it could be
there's
anything.
I mean, we got 10. I got 10K subs on here. I'm sure less than 100 are familiar with Call of Duty, but
Yeah,
we're just. It's not just for trading. It's we can
it,
talk about a bunch of stuff
that's
and just kind
that's
of
what I'm saying. That's what we call it, the talks, right? The talks with Paul and Gurja. It's not
having
just
we
trading
having a
related. Trade,
talk, a little
yeah, the
talk.
trading is gonna be a aspect of it each
Yeah.
week, but it's not gonna just be that. And if there's some of you guys that just wanna we'll even do like some of you guys can come on, right? If there's
Mhm.
someone you guys just want to come on and just chill with us, talk with us, and like get stuff off your mind,
Mhm.
we're more than here, right?
Mhm.
I believe we're here to help you guys, and it could just be if talking to us helps you guys, and maybe like sometimes you have stuff going off on at home, and it's just talking to us will get your mind off of things. Let us know, right? Just give us a shout. We're I believe we're both very open minded people, and we're open to any sort of conversation.
Yep. As long as it's positive and polite.
Yeah, yeah, no drama. We're not doing any drama, no negative, like or anything like that. It's
I mean, the only thing negative is your KD, but we don't have to talk about that.
yeah, that's true. No, I was going off today on Warzone,
Boom,
man. Come on, come
boom.
on. I was going off today, 600% from
Yeah,
zero
you
to
had a
six
Cronus,
kills.
bro. I don't want to hear
Yeah,
it. All right.
don't be saying
Well,
that. People are gonna start accusing me now.
yeah. You want to wrap this out?
Yeah, I'll just say thanks for
T2P
listening,
style.
everybody. Yeah, this was just talks with Paul and Gurjaw. Like we said, we're gonna be here every Sunday, and we'll see you next Sunday. Okay, have a good day,
Peace.
guys.
See you guys later.